Welcome if you new, forgiving your lateness. You streaming in your car, then let it ride. If you on the YouTube, like the video, subscribe. You are now tuned in to the TSP. You are now tuned in to the You are now tuned in. You are now tuned in to the TSP.
Yes, sir. TSP episode 205. I'm your host, Bobby Hall, and with me, as always, that's Dylan the Savage. D-Lo, how we doing this week, my man?
What's going on, Bobby? Another day in the books. Another great week in the books. Stacking the weeks, baby. It's got to be better than the last. That's the positive mindset I like to have. And like a quote from one of our favorite TV shows, it's like a carpenter who builds stairs, man. Just one step at a time.
There it is.
Also, another month, I should say, in the book. 1 month down, I should say. 5 more to go for those that are new here to TSP. The wife is deployed as she is in an active duty Air Force. We thank her for her service, her bravery, and her sacrifice. 5 more months. First month went pretty fast. So, I mean, if the next 5 go pretty quick. So,
Told you, man.
it's getting there. It's
it
getting
will
there.
fly by.
Yeah, so I mean, constant communication through text, FaceTime, and stuff like that definitely makes a difference as opposed to just handwriting letters and getting that each week or like 1 letter a week or something like that. Whatever it was before. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know how they did it without phones, man, or email or internet. Just send letters through Bird.
yeah, carrier pigeon, yeah.
Yeah. But how you been, man?
Well, it's been a long week. And I kind of got to just leave it at that. You know what I mean? But trying to keep the vibes up, the positive thoughts.
Sure.
And, like I said, I kind of just got to leave it at that. But we're doing the thing. So just trying to keep it moving.
Yeah.
And, to stay strong, so
100%.
but yeah, just kind of also counting on the day. I got a month till vacation. I'm looking forward to that. What do we know? We got three weeks, right? 3 weeks till the big weekend for us, Memorial Day weekend. Definitely be looking out for a vlog on that. We will. I know we said we do the same thing for the turkey fry. We dropped the ball, admittedly, a few times, but we're gonna do it, full on. Starting with a little Saturday barbecue type thing. Hopefully, weather permitting. Hopefully, it's not like this weekend, just shit rain.
Rain or shine.
But we'll do casinos rain or shine. But I'm not gonna get
It's gonna be raining
the
cash.
grill out. But
So that's
for
what's
that.
gonna
But
be
yeah, the plan is do a little barbecue action with some casino run tonight. Hopefully, Lady Luck blesses one of us, and then Monday, you see the shirt, baby. We're going to see my man with young D'Lo here and our boy Nick Michaels. We're gonna hit up the land, and also excited to hit up last week's guest, friend Bree Hitchin, for some great Cleveland spots to hit up for lunch. And it should be a good time, man. So I'm looking forward to that. And it should be here before we know it.
I
We'll
hope so.
be the last kind of bit of season 7. It's kind of an up and down thing because we're like on for a week or two, and then we're off for another week, on for one, off for whatever. So obviously next week's Mother's Day, so we'll be off again, but then we'll be back for the week after, and then we'll be off. I think the week after that as well, because
Right.
D'Lo will be up here for our Memorial Day plans and stuff. But like I said, we'll swap an episode out for full-fledged vlog. Those are always fun to make and to watch, and they always actually do pretty well on our channel. So I know people like to watch that kind of stuff. So looking forward to getting one out there. And then I believe the I think it's June 2nd or maybe June 1st, whatever that Saturday is. I think most likely we'll be doing a live stream season finale episode. So we'll probably do some kind of simulcast on here and TikTok, and maybe we'll see if we can get a couple of our buddies on to join us. and we'll just we'll go out in style. It's been a great season. Um, back with the OG too. Even though we brought our boy on for a few occasions, and we'll be back for season 8, baby. Season 8, late summer, early fall. So take a little break
Yeah.
off for the summer, and we'll be back at it, man.
I'll see what I do, and then I'm sure if depending on when we do start, be another break in there as I have my family vacation in the fall. So probably one of those things we'll stumble out of the blocks, if you will, for season 8.
Yeah,
And
we'll start
eventually.
like we're finishing. So that's as TSP as it gets. So
Hey, consistency is key, is what they say, and we're as consistent as we get. We're inconsistently consistent. So I mean,
there it is. And that
it's
might be another shirt right there. TSP, inconsistently
hey,
consistent.
go home or go home
Bang.
is our number one seller. So
But D'Lo, we got another episode here, another guest and a half this week, kind of like last week. It was fun to call in, have 80, talk about his book. I know he was very, very grateful for you and Bree buying books. Your signed copy was way better than mine, so it looks like now, as people have kind of came in and asked for the called copies, um, he's gotten his signature and stuff up. But we have a gentleman from a company, Sauce Bros, that I kind of struck up a relationship with on TikTok. They have a very distinct and interesting hot sauce, and I've had that I really like. So we'll be having them on here in a little bit. But first off, I wanted to bring on a buddy of mine that I went to high school with. Unfortunately, Dylan, his wife is in the midst of a battle with breast cancer. She's also a friend from high school, and they are getting ready to have a benefit for her in 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks now. So I wanted to bring him on to spotlight that, and kind of we'll put up the graphics for that stuff. They have a Venmo as well. So yeah, obviously, like I was talking to you in pre-production about it. Um, the bills and groceries and stuff, they don't stop no matter what the case is. So they want to try to get some money in there, and obviously medical bills, the whole nine. So they want to try to offset some of that stuff. I believe it's a spaghetti dinner with a couple of different things on there, and we'll let Dustin here in a second explain all that. But yeah, I wanted to have him be able to come on and give him the platform to talk about that stuff, and like I said, hopefully get some eyes and ears on the whole thing. And it sounds like we got him on the line, Dylan.
yes, we do.
Yeah,
Okay, so we
I'm
got
here, man.
Dustin Finch on with us. Dustin, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I wanted to give you our platform to hopefully get a few eyes and ears on what's going on,
Sure,
and the benefit, and some of the ways that people can hopefully support you and the family.
sure. Well, first and foremost, guys, I really appreciate it again. It it's one of those things where over the past couple months, it's hard to continuously keep hearing myself say how much I appreciate it from everybody, because I find myself thinking that it sounds old to myself, but I do tell everybody, because at the end of the day, this means the world to us, man. Having this opportunity, it again, it means the world. Just to give a quick rundown, essentially, kind of what we're going through. Again, Lindsay was diagnosed with breast cancer back in December, technically. It was actually Halloween. We had felt right around Halloween. She had felt a lump, and she went to she did everything she was supposed to. Went to her doctor, and it was just dismissed as like because she was pregnant. Obviously, it was dismissed as just a swollen milk duct and everything. So she let it go for a few weeks, almost a month, and then finally kind of hit a point where she had decided, okay, you know what? And we all agreed that should go and get another opinion, and they agreed right then and there that she should go get a biopsy the next day. And it was kind of like within a couple days, obviously your world gets turned upside down. Um, but with that said, she has it's like you said, man, it doesn't stop. The world doesn't stop ticking for anybody. And with 5 kids, well, 4 at the time, but Henley, my second youngest, he was still a baby at the time. And so going into it, we ended up delivering in January, just a little bit early, but to our last baby, Brooks. And it's quite a few complications to be expected with everything. You know, poor Lindsay, she didn't feel great to begin with her pregnancy, but then add on this stress and her cancer specifically is a hormonal related cancer. So it would make sense that, you know, she's still having similar issues that when she was when she was pregnant, blood pressure, all kinds of things like that, which is unfortunate. But there's a silver lining here, and that's that we're 10 treatments in. Um, as of Monday, we're going to be 11 treatments in, and we only at that point we have one more, and then four more of the kind of harsher of the chemos, and then after that, preemptively, we're hoping for surgery and end of June, early July. But really, just I guess the biggest thing I wanted to share is just this opportunity for this benefit, May 17th. Um, our VFW here in Walbridge has they've done a lot for me personally. My mom, I know you probably obviously are aware, but my mom passed away from breast cancer going on 6 years ago. And so this VFW, they had actually put on a similar benefit for us for my mom, and you know they went all out. They did an amazing thing. Um, and it's kind of eerily similar, but at the same time, it's really great to see the community come together again. Um, at a time when obviously we need them the most. It's a very vulnerable time. You know, I work really hard to provide for my family, and it's definitely difficult having to ask for help, but it's been the most humbling experience over the last few months. Some people that you would never in a million years come out of the woodworks, and just some of the blessings, man. It's hard not to be positive, I guess, with all the amazing things going on. And I tell a lot of people we're not a gloom and doom family by any means. We might not have been given like the best hand, but we kind of look at it as, man, this has got to be the worst. And even if it's not, you know, it's going to get better from here. So again, this benefit is an opportunity to help us, like you had mentioned, medical bills, man. It's something that uh, you don't realize until you get this type of bill. You know, it's I personally I've never like really been one to take medical bills very serious just because it bothers me in the first place, our healthcare system. But
Yep.
it's not until you open a bill that and you realize you're actually responsible for it that you start to realize, you know, it's tough, especially like I said, I'm a father of five. Um, and we're doing our best. We're doing great right now. We're doing our best. But as Lindsay wraps up her chemo and prepares for surgery, it's going to be pretty much the hardest time of all. And with donations, the biggest thing, the donations help with the medical bills. And there's also the meal train. The meal train that's been going on. It's been linked to Lindsay and I's Facebooks. It helps out significantly. It really lightens the load off of me. I I I don't exaggerate when I say I don't think I have more than 2 minutes at a time throughout the day to myself, but it's completely okay because I enjoy being able to provide for my family. But again, between the meal train and then the benefit coming up May 17th, again at the local VFW. Right now, we're collecting raffle baskets that they're going to be donating off. They're going to be doing so raffles, silent auction, I think a Chinese auction. I think they're going to be doing a little form of like lottery, you know, in some way. And then there's going to be all kinds of stuff for the kids too, prizes and games and stuff like that. So again, a great time right here in Wallbridge. Probably might be a little difficult finding a place to park, but come grab some spaghetti and it's like I said, it's going to be a great time and I look forward to seeing a bunch of people from the community there.
Yeah, and like I said, even if you have like a typical 80-20 health insurance type of thing, 20% of tens of thousands of dollars is a lot of money, especially when you know you're the only
Yeah,
one
man.
you know working right now. And like I said, you got 5 kids, and I know
Mhm.
one of them's got to be close to a teenager or is a teenager. So you know
Oh yeah,
groceries and stuff's got to
yeah,
be. He's probably eating you guys out of the house already. So um,
absolutely, man.
we got the graphic up right now. What is a Chinese auction? Do you know?
So if you know what, if I'm being completely honest, I can't, I can't. So one
I
of the
seen
nice
that it
things
was
about this is when,
yeah.
no, it's okay. One of the nice things is that, again, I kind of reached out to the VFW at first, just the two people that are near and dear to me, my Aunt Lori and then Henry LaPlante, Ben LaPlante's dad. and they had kind of actually been waiting for me to reach out to them. It was kind of one of those moments where like it was a breath of, you know, fresh air, relief. I called them and I said, "Hey, look, medical bills like are insane. Is there anything that we can do to have benefit?" And right away they were both just like, "Look, we've been waiting for you to call, you know." Everybody wanted, and it's we appreciate so much that everybody has given us our privacy. We also want everybody to know that by all means, we also appreciate every single message, every person that has reached out, every like intimate interaction that we've had with people both that we expected to and that we didn't expect to, and people that we didn't even know that we that we wouldn't have even known from this is it's amazing. I'm pretty sure I just got sidetracked here, but
You're good, good. I had asked, and maybe I should know because I'm Asian. I don't know what the hell a Chinese auction is. That's what I was
oh, that's
asking.
right. Yeah, man. I'm
Um,
sorry. Chinese auction.
no, no,
That's
no, you're
right.
good, you're good. But yeah, I was just interested in that. But yeah, we do have the graphic up. Most of the people that are watching, listening will be from the area, so you'll probably
Sure.
be near Warbridge. So like I said, it is May 17th from 4 to 9 at the VFW Hall right there in town. There, $10 donation, five for kids. Um, but for those that aren't in the area or I might not be able to make it that day, we also have
Mm,
Lindsay's Venmo up as well. So, if you're able to give, please do so. Me and Dylan actually right before the show started sent $100 from TSP to the Venmo as well. So to help out and,
thank you
and
guys so
chip
much
in
for
a
that,
little
man.
bit on that. Absolutely, man. Like I told you, it's amazing. We're from small town, and this is kind of the typical thing is like they just rally around the people from the community, and it's always fun to see, even though unfortunately it comes during the not the best circumstances, but still it's amazing to
Yeah.
see, like you said, people that you expected to come around, and then also people that are coming out of the woodworks to make sure they can kind of chip in or support you guys any way possible. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah, man. Just one last thing to touch on is I think I had mentioned it to you and through text is this is one of those situations, man, that again, like you said, it hits home because it's local to the community. Lindsay's only 33 years old, and she had the genetic testing done. There's no real reason uh, that she should have cancer, So it's, I guess the way you look at it is it's like a fluke, but at the same time, that's where it goes to tell you, this could happen to anybody, and until it does, you don't know, and but again, the local community coming together has been just absolutely amazing. We definitely would not be able to continue doing what we do. And I also wanted to add into that, like, again, it's very hard for us to ask for help. We're humble people, and I know that sounds silly bragging about being humble, but I'm not bragging. We really are humble people, and at the end of the day, every dollar, and I truly mean it, every single dollar that we're given right now is going directly to medical bills and literally nothing else. Because believe me when I say I take pride in providing for my family, and that part I have handled. It's the insane weight, like you've already brought up. It's the insane weight of what an astronomical medical bill can actually do, to you. And every single dollar helps. So again, I just wanted to elaborate that, and the fact that it's a small town community, and most of these donations again are coming from people that we know closely, grew up with, and we, as much as I don't like to say we look forward to, I very much look forward to just the opportunity that we're going to be given, hopefully in the future, to pay it forward and, um, you know, be the support that somebody else probably needs in the future that we probably could have used. But it's okay because again, it's all moving forward at this point.
Yeah, without a doubt. And like I told you, Lindsay gets the top praise, top priority in this whole thing, 'cause she's the one that's in the biggest fight of her life and
Absolutely.
stuff. But like I said, you gotta take hats off to you as well, man, because you're putting the family on your back and doing all this stuff, and basically, like you said, you've been nonstop. You're just go 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 right now because you gotta go do this, and you're going with her to
I
treatments,
appreciate
and
it,
you're going to
man.
work, and I'm sure the kids are doing sports and all kinds of activities. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
nonstop. I'm sure sleep is
Lots of
an
sports, man.
afterthought at this point. So you definitely gotta make
But
sure
you know
you
what,
get
man? It's
some
just
props too, man.
I don't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say, you know what though, man? It's just I appreciate so much. I really do. It's at the end of the day, I give all the credit to like my mom because I feel like my mom just she just raised me right. You know, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be a good dad, and that's really all I'm doing is just trying to show up and provide. And I really appreciate you acknowledging that because you know, especially in today's day, like you said, there's a lot of pressures and sports and everything. Yeah, definitely not much rest at all. But the end of the day, the pride that I take and the joy that I get out of being able to be the provider for Lindsay's my best friend. I would literally give my life for her. So there's nothing in the world that I wouldn't do for her. And being able to be that person for her right now is just it sucks, but it's also the most rewarding thing in the entire world. So again, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'd like to
100%.
say, I like to say just for my 2 cents is
Yeah,
that just it's incredible, man. It really is. Just hearing you in high spirits, it truly is an inspirational. It sounds like you're an incredible father, husband, and person all around.
thank you, man.
And I can speak for both Bobby and I that we are very happy to be able to donate, even if it's just a little bit. Like you said, a little goes a long way to
Oh,
this
that's
to
yeah,
this cause.
absolutely, man.
So um, keep up the good fight, and you got TSP in your corner, Bobby and myself, and the entire neighborhood of Walbridge, the whole community there. And yeah, 100%, man. Truly inspirational. Makes my problems feel a lot smaller. And hopefully other people listening can relate to that as well. And just even take that from this interview itself.
I I I I promise you, I got a smile on my face right now. This is the stuff that that gets you by, man. It really is. This is the stuff that you when you get those few desperate moments by yourself in the shower or in between, you know, appointments or anything like that, these are the things that you remember and think about. So again, I just I know you guys are praising me, but I also want to, you know, praise you guys right back because without support from people like you guys, people like me would definitely not have as much energy to keep on trucking.
Hey, no problem, dude. I like I said, I had been following along and kind of seeing what you guys been going through. So like I said, we don't have the biggest audience out there, but still wanted to have you bring on, use our platform to
Yeah, of
put a
course, man.
spotlight on
No,
what's going on and plug, like I said,
sure.
the benefit and come because this will
It's an
drop on
honor.
Monday. So come Monday, we'll pull the clip from here and we'll post that on our socials and stuff. And yeah, we'll get
Awesome.
some more people supporting and stuff all the way. So we'll let you get back to the rest of your Saturday. Hopefully, you get a little bit of rest and relaxation for a little bit before you got to jump right back into the grind. But again,
Yep,
guys, just
absolutely.
Saturday, May 17th, the VFW in Walbridge, Ohio, from 4 to 9. Come out, have some spaghetti, support the Fincher family, and let's like he said, this money's gonna go a very long way to help keep them afloat while the medical bills are racking up. And yeah, hopefully, in a few months, we'll get some good news and you guys
Absolutely.
will be able to
You bet, man.
take a breather. So yeah, Dustin, it was good to talk to you, and we'll definitely be in touch, my man.
Sounds good. Thank you guys again. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world from not just myself, but myself, Lindsay, and my kids, my whole entire family. Thank you guys.
100%,
Yes, sir.
brother. Keep trucking.
We'll be in touch, buddy.
You bet, man. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
See you later.
Bye.
Dylan, you said it best, man. We're especially because I'm gonna bring up something very minuscule from this week. It's about a video game, something annoying like that. But even some of your everyday problems when you're working late or some restaurants out of whatever or something stupid, you think of folks like Dustin and Lindsay that are going through, like I said, the fight of her life or their lives. And like he said, he's got to still treat every day like kind of like it's a normal, he's got to go to work, he's got to support his family, all the kids. And Also, while going with her to treatments and just kind of trying to keep your head on straight, trying to juggle, making sure because they got all them raffles and auctions going on, so he's probably calling and texting different companies to try to get donations for that. So it's just like I said, sleep's probably got to be an afterthought at this point, you know.
Sure.
And even if he had the time, probably couldn't even if he wanted to, just because there's just so much, on his agenda. But
Yeah.
as we heard there, he was like you wouldn't have any clue unless we obviously brought up the whole situation. You wouldn't have any idea what he's going through because he's just so positive. Like he said, he was talking to us with a smile on his face. It's very it's like
Yeah.
heartwarming,
You can definitely feel the positivity through the phone there, and like I said, I mean, we're pulling for him. Got us into the corner, and truly is inspirational. I mean that with every meaning of the word inspiration, and yeah, this really does put things in perspective for you as an individual when it hits closer to home as well.
Yeah, man. So, again, if obviously not everyone is going to be from the Rossford, Genoa, Warbridge area, so those of you that are outside of that and like to support these guys, again, you've seen the Venmo on the screen there. If not, I'm gonna have Dylan, add that into the episode descriptions and stuff, for the podcast people. So pull it up on there or reach out to me or Dylan. We'll point you in the right direction. And even Dusty said, like, even if you don't have it, obviously not everyone's got extra money these days to donate. If not, send them a positive message, man. You know what I mean? I'll point you in the right direction for their socials. Even if you got just words of encouragement, they'll accept that too. That's humongous right now for them. So if you want to donate money, awesome. If not, what I'm saying, positive words of affirmation, encouragement, positivity, they'll take all of that. So just make sure you guys support them any way you can. Great people, and like I said, we're rooting for them and pulling, and hopefully in a few months, Lindsay's knocked this shit out and they can finally, have a breather, exhale.
100%.
But Dylan, before we bring a guest on, real quick, I do want to touch on this. A bit, and like I said, it's a very minuscule problem, but still annoying as shit. Pull it up, man. For those of you that might be living under a rock, and I feel like we called it on this show at some point. We knew that Rockstar Game was going to pull the rug from out under our feet. And what they do was, I think this was just 2 days ago, they dropped this shit on our ass. And now they're pushing back. They said 2025, and they never gave a date. So that was why I was nervous off the rip. They didn't even say
pull a rug to place another.
I don't think they said fall or any. They didn't give us a season. They're just like, it's going to drop in 2025. And then boom, here they come. Now they're saying almost middle of the year next year, May 26th, 2026. And yeah, we won't read the whole thing here, but you can kind of see, it's just their whole fake apology bullshit, whatever. They've had, this will be probably close to 15 years now.
Yeah.
They've had 15 years to get this thing going here. Obviously, they've always taken a while to get, to drop. But this one from 5 to 6 is nuts, dude. 15 years. I mean, shit, man. I think I was 21, 22 when GTA 5 came out. And if that's how old I was, fuck, Dylan, were you in middle school? Shit.
Yeah, good chance. I mean, there's probably a good chance at least a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
It's fucking yeah, it's pretty nuts. I told you, it's like, might as well just not even release it.
And they dropped a trailer on our ass. Come on, man.
Multiple.
Exactly. So what more do they got that they need a year and a half? Something catastrophic must have happened. It sucks.
We'll
man.
never
People
know.
are pissed. Some people are saying like, don't even fucking drop it at this point. Fuck you guys. We're over it. I still want the game. I am pissed, but please do still drop the game. But yeah, Rockstar, man, that is such a fucking kick to the nuts.
Yeah, we'll
That's all I had to look forward to on the video game side. I mean, I seen college football is coming back in like July
10th. Yeah,
but I'm not really seeing. That's what 3 months away, 2 months away, and I'm not seeing much as far as game improvements or new additions other than I seen the one trailer about how you can jump from high school to college to pros, but you could already do that anyways. I mean, you couldn't do high school last year, but you could still do college to pros. That don't really move the needle for me.
Right.
But I just had to get that out there because
Yeah.
I seen that 2 days ago. Pissed me off. Me and you had a brief discussion. I just pull it up there. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that feel the same way. But Dylan, we're gonna bring our guest down who's been extremely patient, and I appreciate it because I told him I very much wanted to bring Dustin on to talk about what he had to talk about, but I'm also excited to talk to this gentleman here. We finally got a name to the well, it wasn't even a face for me. I've been talking to the Sauce Bros account on TikTok for a couple of months. I think we sort of, I guess, quote unquote, met in the midst of one of Remy's lives over there. Bought a bottle of sauce through Remy's shop to help kind of support both of them. And we had Gator on a few weeks ago. He's on the barbecue side of things. These guys have their own hot sauce, and it's not your typical hot sauce. It's like a thicker style too, man. It's almost like it's almost kind of like mayo-y, which there might be some mayo in it. So we'll ask some of the questions here too. But yeah, we finally got a name. His name's Karim Hafez. Him and his two brothers started this Sauce Bros company, and we're gonna get into why they joined. Because hot sauce is kind of a competitive world these days. You know how
I would
people were kind
imagine.
of getting into the beers and all that stuff. That was kind of a big market. Still is actually craft beers. Everyone's got a craft beer these days. But if you look around there, I mean, like just today, I was at Meyer. You go down the sauce aisle, hot sauce aisle. I mean, there's hundreds now. So we'll get into why they decided to join up, who came up with the recipe. Maybe we'll see because right now they just have the sauce. We'll see if there's more in the pipeline. If they're only doing sauces, they have some interesting merch and stuff as well. And D'Lo, you got the people a Gator Bait discount code. We'll see if you can work your magic and maybe we'll get a discount code for Sauce Bros. We'll see. We'll see what you can work out. But for today on episode 205, we have Karim Hafez with Sauce Bros joining us. Karim, first
Hey.
off, like I said, thank you. We went a little long in the intro. We said about 20, 25 minutes. It took about a half hour. We appreciate you being patient and sitting back there. Like I said, Dustin and Lindsay there are two good friend of mine from high school, going through some rough stuff. So appreciate you letting us kind of shine the light on them for a little bit before we bring you on. But how you doing, man?
Good. Doing great. Saturday night feels great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, like I said, you must be the main person that runs the account
Yeah.
usually, or okay.
Yeah. So I do run the Sauce Bros account, and I got familiar with people like Remy and Toxic online,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. And TikTok is a new channel, sales channel for us, as we just started last year. So.
Okay. Yeah, just like I said, I think it was a week or two after we had our 200th episode stream done. I was in one of Remy's lives, just in there. I think it might have been a Saturday night, just kind of sitting back in the comments a little bit, and then I seen Sauce Bros pop up, and I think both Remy and his buddy Toxic Show, they're both kind of big you up, So I kind of checked it out, and then Remy had you guys in his TikTok showcase. So it was kind of a two birds with one stone kind of thing where I kind of support both you guys at the same time and ordered a bottle. And, I really enjoyed it, man. It's like obviously nothing I've ever had as far as a hot sauce. I think it is like a mayo based sauce, right? Or am I along those lines?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're not quite in the hot sauce game.
Gotcha.
It does have some spice to it because we really love that kind of flavor of certain peppers. But we still kind of fall more into like a creamy, more like a mayo-based sauce rather than just your typical kind of watery hot sauce or your tobacco that you kind of just sprinkle in your taco or something like that.
Yeah, I got it, and yeah, just I my favorite thing to put it on as breakfast sandwiches. It's just like dynamite, especially like I'll do kind of like a homemade like sausage egg McMuffin type thing at the house, and it's just like the perfect complement to that for sure. I think I've done wings, pizza, and yeah, it's great. It's definitely nothing like I've had before. It's got like a smoky taste to it, like a chipotle type of sauce, I think. So it's definitely something different, man. I like it.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the intent behind making it all those years back. I mean, we officially started a year ago, actually manufacturing the sauce in larger quantities but the recipe's been in the family for about a decade.
Okay.
And the original idea my brother was trying to come up with was kind of a sauce to rule all sauces kind of thing, if you're really into Lord of the Rings. Where it really was like a sauce that you could kind of have with everything, instead of kind of every time you have a meal, maybe you'll have a salad dressing for your salad, or you'll have maybe different sauce for your pizza, and then maybe put something else on your sushi. And the dream was always to just kind of have one sauce that kind of can hit on everything, which is kind of a tall order, but eventually we came up with the recipe, and it stuck with us for so long.
Yeah,
No.
I like that. Because before we got, because there's three of you that started
Yep.
this company, right?
Right.
You and your two brothers. Who was the one that actually came up with the recipe, or was it really all three of you that kind of pitched in on that?
Well, I can't take credit for the original recipe. So my oldest brother, which is like the real brains behind the sauce company, is the one that invented the recipe. And everyone thought he was crazy. He's not really into culinary arts by trade whatsoever. He was actually a bio major, Johns Hopkins. And, he really got into biology, chemistry, but at the same time, food was kind of his love language. And, every time we'd go out to eat, he would always famously kind of ask the waiter and say, "Hey, bring me all of the sauces that you guys have in the restaurant." And the waiter would always look at it and be like, what are you crazy?" He's like, "Yeah, bring me every single sauce that you guys have. I want to try it with your food." And, just like the little painter's color wheel, the waiter would come out with all these sauces, and he would try all of them and be like, "This one's good. This one's a little too tangy. This one's too sweet. This one's too hot." And after doing that at so many different restaurants, he's like, "I'm going to make my own sauce." And I really respected that, because he had the courage to kind of step outside of the box. And, even though he's not skilled at doing anything, he's like, how hard could it be? He's like, I'm going to take the best flavors, all the stuff that I love, put it all together, mix it up, throw it in the blender, and see what happens. And he did it a couple times, and he was like, wow, this is now my new favorite sauce. And, he let the family try it. All of us tried it. We're like, wow, I actually think you actually made something, so it's kind of like that eureka moment where we're like, is he a madman or a genius? And so for the longest time, we just had it as like the family sauce, and we would eat it with almost everything, until his friend came along and finally kind of convinced him, as well as myself, to kind of make this a thing where you'd share it with the rest of the world. We're like, why can't I buy this in the store? So,
Right.
and that's what we're at today.
Is there ever been like in the early processes of throwing things into a blender? I mean, has there been dog shit results, or has it just been like, this is pretty good, but let's add this and that and the other? How was that trial and error experience?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that the spectrum would reach dog shit on the other side. Because again, I'm a believer in, when you take quality ingredients and you put them together,
Right.
You're going to come up with something that's palatable. But of course, the tweaking and the refinement is where you kind of get something that's more kind of a cleaned up version and an art form, where you'll taste and be like, you know what, this is a little, I'm tasting too much of this ingredient, or I don't really like this piece of it. We kind of like to analyze the kind of entry and exit, as we call it, of the sauce, where you taste things in the beginning, and then in the middle, and then of course there's an exit on that sauce where what's the aftertaste that leaves in your mouth. So that's really where the tweaking and the trial and error part really came into play.
Nice. So you guys had like a baseline of what you guys wanted, and you kind of tweaked it from there. So that's yeah. I would not be that way. I'd be throwing some random stuff together and seeing what we can get. Let's get crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's funny you say that, because we just had actually just last night we had kind of one of those crazy like sauce sessions, is what we call it, where it's literally like it's an open palette. You can play around with different ingredients that you want, and really just try to invent a new sauce. And it's kind of a little bit like painting. It's artistic. It's like, hey, let's take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I like this flavor. Let's try that, and you mix it together, and voila, you see what you get. And so we occasionally have those sessions when we want to try to come out with potentially a new sauce or a new ingredient, or a new flavor, just to cater to a different audience.
Now the name is actually an acronym, is what we've come to find out.
Yes.
We can kind of see the logo on the back there.
Yep.
But why don't you tell the people what it stands for?
Yeah. So here's the bottle. It's called Soss, SOSS. so we came up with a name. Obviously, we would always say, "Where's the sauce?" After we loved having it. It had no name for a long time because it was a family recipe, and we would always just call it Sauce. And so we kind of came up with the intuitive name of just calling it SOSS, just to play on the way of saying sauce, but in a different way. And it stands for Smoked Original Secret Sauce. So our whole thing was really just to make that name synonymous with the word sauce. And so it was something that's easy to pronounce, and it was something that just kind of rolls off the tongue. And that's actually what we've called it for over a decade now. So it really rings true for us.
I like that. So just condiments, hot sauce like that. The whole world these days is pretty competitive.
Yep.
So why did you guys want to go? Because I mean, you guys created a recipe, that you could have just kind of kept, within family events or friend maybe maybe made a jar or a bottle for friends or something. What made you guys want to jump into like the business side into what is a pretty competitive field?
Yeah. I'll be honest. The decision to sell sauce wasn't really a business decision per se. It was more so kind of an avenue to explore kind of sharing the art of food and kind of a culinary experience with the rest of the world. And actually, honestly, through a lot of discussions, I always kind of question myself. I'm like, hey, I love this stuff so much. Does the rest of the world share this same feeling and really this experience of how to eat food? Because at the end of the day, sauce is it's not just a condiment. It's kind of more of a experience into how to eat food a specific way. And I truly learned that from my older brother and the two co-founders, is that anybody can make a sauce. Like if I gave you just some ingredients to make it at home and you can make a sauce, this is really about how to experience food in a different way. And when we get to kind of talking about what we kind of have in the pipeline and a couple other things that we're working on, that's really our goal, is to just kind of have people appreciate kind of the culinary art a little bit more, rather than say, hey, we want to jump into this business and we want to make, X dollars. We want to grow into an X, valued company and so on and so forth. It's really a creative expression of all the people on board. And it's been really, really fun and an enlightening journey so far.
Yeah, I love the passion behind it. Like, we're speaking like about this condiment where I view it as something I just put on, like, like dip it with fries or put it on my wings or something. You're going into the science of the actual like artistic side of things, of just not only of something you're consuming, but it's a way of way that you're consuming it.
Yeah.
And that in itself, I can taste the sauce, if you will, just the way you're explaining it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see it as very similar to the experience of the first time you have a deli sandwich and you realize that it's not just the ingredients that are important in the sandwich, but it's the layering of those ingredients that changes the flavor. And if I was to come up with an analogy, that would be the best analogy I would have for sauce versus any traditional condiment, is like somebody who took the time to layer those ingredients in a particular fashion, in a particular order, that they let you taste that progression while you're tasting the sauce. And again, like when we would play around with different samples and tasting them, that's exactly what we would do with each recipe. We would sit there and be like, okay, let me kind of analyze the pathing of this flavor through the beginning when it first hits my taste buds to the middle to the end, and also make sure that it also kind of gives you all those different flavors that you really want while you're eating. A little bit of spice, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of smokiness, just all in one.
I love it.
I like because you could have been on here and just be like, yeah, we came up with sauce, we liked how it tasted, we wanted to sell it. But you're like hitting us with like the full, like there's like a scientific method to this, and
My mind's blown
it's
right
great,
now.
and that's probably why you guys have a good product. You know what I mean? Instead of just be like, yeah, a neighbor of mine said I made a good sauce, so I sold it, and that's kind of the whole thing there, and
Yeah.
that's not really anything there. But what would you say has been the hardest part of you guys' journeys, now that you sell the bottles? Is it kind of getting the name out there, obviously on social media and stuff,
Yeah.
or is there something outside of that that's been difficult?
I mean, that's a great question. The first thing that comes to mind is, the fact that it's not enough just to have a great product. having the product and being in the art and making everything perfect is only one piece of the pie, and the rest of it truly is in kind of like the message and the marketing, and utilizing the different tools depending on which avenue you're selling on. So if that's social media or you're selling online through your own channel, or if you even go into retail, which is something we've talked about quite a lot, and we've considered that. But what I found as a major struggle in the beginning is kind of just being a small family-owned company and working on a smaller scale and really working on like advertising the sauce to people. So like for TikTok, for example, when I would describe people what sauce was, immediately they would just kind of think that I'm like a scammer or something like that. They're like, oh, maybe your product isn't legitimate. This is TikTok. A lot of products are maybe coming from different sources. They're not US made. And especially with food, it's a lot more sensitive with product marketing. The other thing we kind of struggled with was something that I'll speak to directly now because we're in the process of changing it. Is our original label, the one that I sent you, this one right here, is labeled mild, and this was a discussion we had for a really long time. It's not that spicy of a sauce, so to us, it's a mild. But after experimenting with a lot of different sales, a lot of different people trying it, I would say that most people, at least in America or the Western culture, would consider our sauce spicy. And so now we're kind of working, and we've already changed the label in the next iteration to make the current one that we've tried the original, and then make kind of a little bit more of a less spicy one, and we're going to call that one the mild now. So that was kind of a struggle, as people were like, hey, mild is way spicier for me, because everyone has a different kind of palate for what spicy really is. So for us, like on the range of a hot sauce that you're dealing with like really, really high Scoville units and Scoville ratings, it's super mild. It's like not spicy at all. But for some people, we're like, hold on, this is kind of spicy. So that was
because like I said, I've tried it and I'm almost gone, but I think it's one of those things where like if you were to dip your finger in or something, like it's not bad. It's one of those things that kind of it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get to the point where I'm like, holy, fan of myself already like that. But like I said, my breakfast sandwiches when I'm halfway, 3/4 way through is when you'll kind of feel a little bit of a kick, but it's not anything that's going to kick your ass. But it's definitely, I guess I could see where there's some people, maybe especially that might be used to like you watered down hot sauces, even though this isn't hot sauce per se, but that could say like, yeah, this is way hotter than like a mild. So I guess I could see where they're coming from on that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of variation between like how you try the sauce. So like when I would send people a couple samples, they would immediately like try it on their finger, for example. And so when you compare that, when you actually try it with food, it's a completely different experience. And so the spiciness kind of hits you a lot more if you just taste it on your finger, because you really kind of taste the depth of those chipotle peppers. But when you put it and mix it with your food, it's like a different experience altogether. You don't have a little bit more of that sharpness of the heat, and it's cut really nicely. And you're like, wow, putting this on eggs or putting this in a breakfast burrito or on a pizza or on sushi, you're like, okay, hold on, this is taking me somewhere else.
All right.
I know you have a background story on the shirt, and we'll touch on that here in a second. But your guys' actual logo back there, was that also something that was created in house, or was somebody outside that made that for you guys?
Yep. This was a logo. Here's the box. It's created in house. So it's SOSS, and your third S is kind of our spicy pepper right there, just to because it's based off of a pepper sauce. We like it. It's really simple. It's elegant and stuck with us for a very long time. We actually never reinvented the logo for the last couple of years, honestly. So it's always kind of been there. I actually have an old big wooden block actually behind me that was the original from 10 years ago that my brother had, because he created a stamp, like an ink pad, and way back when we would give it to friends and family, he would stamp each individual sauce that he would send out with that logo, which is really cool.
Nice little touch for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what are you said you would go back, or one of your brothers would go and taste every single condiment and sauce at restaurants and try to get like a specific flavor profile, if you will. What are some of those inspirations that are combined, if any at all, into this sauce of yours? And I guess what were like any favorites that you had prior to this recipe? And does that have any collaboration with what you have going on right now?
Yeah, sure. That's actually a really good question. I've never had that question before, and I'm actually happy to answer it. I would say a couple inspirations would be things like garlic aioli, spicy mayo, um, some kind of horseradish or wasabi, as well as kind of some kinds of hot sauce or barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauces kind of give you a little bit of that more smokiness, but a little bit more on the sweet side.
Sure.
Hot sauces will give you the heat, and then your spicy mayo and your aiolis kind of give you that more of like a creamy sauce that you can dip like French fries in or pizza or put on sushi. And that question also reminds me of what we've made, and we're going to start putting this out with the rest of our sauces. Is what we call the sauce matrix, and the sauce matrix is basically it's a grid matrix that shows you every single food and what sauces can go on each one of those foods and which ones they can't, and it shows you how sauce can kind of go on every single one of those foods where maybe ketchup fails or honey mustard fails or barbecue sauce or hot sauce fails. You can't really put those on everything. You have these limitations, but not with sauce.
I like that.
Okay, I do like that.
Yeah, that comes down to also this other side of the same question, I guess you could say, is a lot of people, not only with a flavor profile, but a lot of people would also determine if they like something based on its texture alone. Now, what is any inspirations off of texture that it came down to this sauce? Because as Bobby talked about before, where it's not like it's not like a runny sauce or anything like that. It's more of a creamier substance.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't really. I mean, again, because it was a family recipe, it was never something that was going to be watered down or really used with kind of diluting any of the natural ingredients that we have. And that's something that when we moved over to a co-packer, we really wanted to maintain and protect. Because again, when you go into larger manufacturing and larger quantities, there is kind of an inclination to want to do that, and maybe sacrifice on certain ingredients. Or sacrifice on the process or do anything like that. We didn't do that, and that's actually why it took us so long to find a co-packer, is because we were really strict on the original process that we would do at home. One of the things we wouldn't compromise on is the lemons. So a lot of companies use lemon juice from concentrate. We use actually freshly squeezed, hand squeezed lemons in every bottle. So that was something that a lot of co-packers were not willing to do, just because the labor that is included with that. And that's just something that we just wouldn't compromise on. So it's definitely not in the watery kind of category like your typical hot sauce that just kind of pours right out of the bottle. It has a consistency somewhere between, I would say, mustard and kind of a chipotle sauce-ish, where it's kind of like it can be a dip. It's almost thick enough to be a dip. So that's really a reflection of kind of the natural ingredients that we make it with, and we don't really like cut it to make really larger quantities or anything like that.
Nice.
Okay. So yeah, let's touch. You guys got merch. You got the hat in the background. You actually sent me one of those shirts with the bottle of sauce I got. It's a very interesting shirt, and you told me it's got a pretty cool backstory. So the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, sure. So again, my group, the Sauce Bros, they have a lot of different inclinations towards art and creativity, and just doing things differently. So we're just so different than your typical sauce company, because our founders, including myself, are a little bit crazy at times, and they want to do something cool and exciting. So one of our founders, my oldest brother, and Lance, his best friend and kind of like non-blood related brother, our real brother, determined that they were so into this concept of no meal being boring. And so that really stuck with us for a while. We're like, hey, you know what? No meal should be boring. And it really stuck. Like we were working on that and we were playing around with it. And they came up with this shirt. You can't see the whole shirt, but it has a Bored Ape on it. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Bored Apes. It was kind of a crypto fad for a long time. And so my oldest brother actually ended up going and buying the Bored Ape with the slice of pizza on it. So it just matched so well with this concept of like making your meals no longer boring and having the Bored Ape and potentially doing a collaboration with them that we ended up making these shirts using Miami promos about I'd say 3-4 months ago, and it just really stuck. It was something that we really liked, and we were like, hey, like really sauce does take, your boring meal. You just eat, rice and chicken on that day that you're bored and you don't really have a dinner planned out. Put a little sauce on it and bam, you're like, wow, this meal is elevated to a point where it's not just bland anymore. So that's kind of the fun story that we have. We still own the Bored Ape. We have the number and everything, but it's just a fun little knickknack now that we have, and a cool story behind it.
I like that. I like that a lot. You touched on it a little bit previously, but are you guys because I know you said you're working on a milder sauce.
Yep.
I thought we talked to your brother in the pre-production. He made it sound like you guys are also possibly working on a spicier sauce as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
What do you guys got in the pipeline here?
So we got a couple things. So number one is we're switching kind of the one that we originally called mild over to original, because that was the original recipe, and we're making a milder one for folks that kind of just want less of that kick from the heat, and something more closer to a sauce that doesn't really tingle the tongue as much on the heat side, but something they can just kind of lather on and say, oh, it's not like I pour too much or anything like that. At the same time, we've had a lot of internal discussions about a spicier sauce, because the people who like spicy, they're like, hey, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and I want something with some real heat to it. And so we're really trying to please that angle of the demographic as well. And internally, we're 3 founders, and again, not all of us have the same opinions on what a lot of people would really like in terms of that level of heat. And internally, we're like, hey, we should give people that decision in terms of their level of heat. And I always like it akin to kind of going into like an Indian restaurant, or when you're going to order your biryani or whatever your food is, they'll say, hey, like, what's your heat level? Like, let's be honest. Like, are you on the Eastern heat level or are you on the Western heat level? Because those parameters are very, very different. So sometimes if you come into something with a certain expectation and it's way hotter than you thought, it's going to put you off a little bit. So we really wanted to kind of calibrate the ability of people to choose that, where they're like, hey, spicy stuff doesn't really work with me. Like maybe I have some gastrointestinal issues or something like that. I'm kind of worried about something that's too spicy, versus those kind of like daredevil kind of people who are like, hey, I eat spicy food all the time. Give me what you got. I like that heat. I like the little buzz that you get from really, really hot peppers.
Yeah, I've talked about it previously. I like spicy food, as long as it tastes good.
Yeah.
There's people out there that will eat just hot shit and that's all you taste is heat. I don't like that kind of stuff. So I'll probably try your guys' hotter sauce, because I assume it's going to kind of be that same kind of recipe where you're just going to turn it up a few notches, and the sauce itself tastes good. So I'll deal with, a heavier kick as long as there's a taste with it as well, not something that's just going to be straight, burning your tongue. I don't know why people are like that, because it's just like, it's kind of a waste.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. I don't like just mindless heat for no reason.
Right.
There's heat that is like an aftertaste from kind of the quality of, or different kinds of peppers or habaneros that you're using in a sauce. But again, you get that enjoyment of the flavor journey before you hit that heat. So there's actually kind of a purpose to that heat. I'm definitely on the same page as not doing that. I never really understood why people would kind of hit like those, Carolina Reaper straight sauce, which is like making you cry, and like, you're running for trying to mix milk and ketchup or something like that to get rid of the heat. I didn't really like that concept of just like challenging your system for how hot you can tolerate something.
Yeah.
Although people like doing that because it gives them kind of like clout for tasting spicy stuff. Yeah. That's not what we're looking for here at all. We're really still looking for something that enhances the meal, gives you additional flavor, and has a lot of different notes besides just straight heat. That's going to have you just like, running to wash your face or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that definitely answers my question that I have here is when you're talking about spicier sauces, like why stop there and create something to where like you maybe have like a sauce boss challenge and like have some kind of, I know it goes on any foods, but maybe if they're food of choice and they have to consume this sauce and such, and like a merch prize or something like that.
Yep. Well, I mean, what we're doing now is because we're a small company, there's pros and cons for being a small company, and something
Right.
that we can take advantage of the fact that we're small is having limited edition sauces.
Yeah.
And we really like that concept. Our Instagram handle is Secret Sauce at Secret Sauce. And so we've started internally our Secret Sauce Club. So, people would have access to tasting the brand new sauces that we came up with that haven't kind of been manufactured and produced in large quantities. And those are kind of limited edition sauces. And you can only kind of do that as a small company because a large company, you're going to be manufacturing, hundreds of thousands of units of the same sauce. You're going to have demands for retail and stuff like that. But we have a unique opportunity while we're a small company to do that. And we have a lot of fans who just kind of love tasting stuff that's fresh. Like they're like, no one's tried this before. I have exclusive access to it. They've only made, 100, 200, 500 bottles. So that's been really exciting to play around with.
I just jumped on my phone because I thought I was following you guys on Instagram because there is a Sauce Bros Instagram,
Yep.
but then
Yep.
there's
So
also
we have
a
both.
Secret Sauce Instagram. Okay.
Correct.
Is there a difference
Correct.
between the two?
So there is a difference. So the Sauce Bros
Okay.
one is kind of our official launch Sauce Bros. Secret Sauce is going to be in the works now for that exclusive kind of membership for people to get access to the sauces that are in the making that haven't kind of hit the masses yet. So Secret Sauce is going to be the place to be.
Is there anything possibly being worked on outside of like a seasoning or maybe an actual hot sauce? Like a looser base something. Or you guys just gonna kind of stick with the like the smoky, like Chipotle, mayo-y style.
So we are looking at a couple different flavors besides kind of like the 3 levels of sauce, which is our kind of our mild or original and our spicy version. Our group is experimenting with different flavors like Thai basil or a chili pepper sauce, potentially a barbecue sauce. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline. We have a huge event coming up in mid-May, so in 2 weeks, in Richmond, which is the Dominion River Rock festival, which is going to be really exciting. We're bringing our sauces, we're bringing our canopy and our tent and everything like that. And actually, one of our brothers is playing in the kayak polo tournament at that festival as well. And they're going to feature sauce on the boats in the actual kayaks while they play in the tournament, which is going to be really cool.
Awesome, man. Where are you guys based out of?
So we are based out of Miami, Florida. That's
Okay.
kind of our origin. We've been up and around Virginia, on the East Coast, selling stuff, going to different festivals. But our base headquarters is out of Miami.
Do you know how many states sauce has been sold to? Like somebody has bought a bottle of sauce?
That's a good question. I would probably say somewhere between 25 to 30 states.
Okay.
That's the good thing about e-commerce is you can have that kind of nationwide reach very, very quickly versus kind of going right into retail in the beginning and only being in local stores in butcher shops and delis and things like that. Unless you're getting into like your mega stores like Walmart or Target or any of those other stores. But e-commerce allows us to kind of get all over the nation really with different states.
Now we had a buddy of ours a couple weeks ago, Gator Bait Barbecue Sauce. He's based out of Columbus, Ohio, and he's been able to work with a few like local restaurants to serve his sauce with wings or different sandwiches and stuff. Have you guys been able to do anything like that around your way?
Yeah, actually, up here in Virginia, which is where I'm making this call from, we found a couple different delis that picked up our sauce and started selling the sandwiches. It's a great sauce for deli sandwiches. And immediately after buying a couple boxes, they were like, "Hey, this stuff's clearing out of the shelves, and people really like this." So one of the places is called the Deli up in Herndon. We also got into the Organic Butcher of Bethesda, which is in Maryland. So yeah, I mean, we definitely like doing that just because, again, hitting that more local kind of clientele where people just kind of walk in and are looking for a new sauce to try, on their sandwich is great. Versus the traditional kind of like, maybe you saw an ad or maybe someone tried it on TikTok or maybe you just stumbled on the website. So it's definitely a cool sales avenue as well.
Okay. What would you say is maybe not obscure, but maybe what's a food that somebody wouldn't think of putting sauce on that you think would be a dynamite combination?
There's a lot. I mean, we've tried a lot of things. I mean, there's sushi, there's eggs. Doritos is another one we kind of discovered when we went to the Mason Festival for their what is it called, the Pi Kappa Alpha. They had a huge Mason alumni game, basketball game out there, and we brought a bunch of sauce, and people wanted to taste test it, and somebody had a massive bag of nacho cheese Doritos, and we're like, all right, let's try it, and it turned out to be like a flavor explosion. The moment I tried it, I was like, this is insane. I never looked at Doritos the same way. And we put that video up on our TikTok page, and the guy he was so funny to watch his reaction. It was just, you got to check it out.
Yeah, I will for sure. Let's what are a couple short-term goals you guys got? Maybe a couple long-term for the company, for Sauce.
Short-term goals, I would say, probably just really be at a consistent state where we need to, manufacture X thousand bottles a month. I think that would be a pretty big goal, as well as getting like our own, I would say, warehouse, which would be like something that would be would reflect a consistent level of sales. I think that would just be a really cool milestone for a family-owned company to move towards that level of an operation. At the same time, I would say having a line of sauces that stay true to the name, it doesn't cut any corners and is the same level of quality as the original sauce. I think that that's always something that a lot of companies struggle with when they start off is, as you grow larger, to not kind of sacrifice on any of your original principles. And, again, we're not in the business of just trying to make money. It's really just trying to build kind of a culture and a way of experiencing food.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Dylan, did you want to ask anything? I kind of took the reins there.
Oh no, you're good, man. Long-term goals, short-term goals. Now, we were in pre-production, and we discovered some other talents other than sauces. It's from the artistic side, from one of your brothers there.
Yeah.
Do you have any of side hobbies of your own when you want to get out of the sauce, if you will?
You're talking about, do I have side hobbies other than sauce that I'm working on?
For sure, yeah. Do you have like other aspirations outside of sauce, or is the main focus just with the sauce itself?
Well, sauce is a big part of my life. As again, it was
Right.
a family tradition, and the brotherly aspect, how it's a family business, is a really important piece. Obviously, it's not something that is separate from my life. It's kind of one and the same. And again, spending time with my brothers, my family, working on sauce, having delicious food, and developing new flavors and sharing that with the world is a big piece. Personally, I am currently on my own working on a book, which is just something that I kind of spend a lot of time with when I'm not working on sauce. But that's, I guess, another avenue for my level of my creativity and my kind of artistic outlet.
For sure. Now, I did have a question that popped up within our private chat here and wants to be asked. Now, you guys are making a commercial, or you guys want to make a commercial about the 5 sauces battle. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, this is the commercial is actually a great thing to mention. It ties really well into the sauce matrix I told you guys about, but it is the sauce matrix in a realized commercial where each one of these sauces would come in kind of as a different character and would be kind of consecutively knocked out by different foods eventually, and just kind of showing that in that artistic form is something that we thought would be really fun to make, and we're working on that and making. It was pretty cool.
The sauce that rules them all, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a little yeah, maybe a little Royal Rumble sauce Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
Dylan, before we move on, I mean, do you want to try to wave your magic wand like you did with Gator Bait and see where we get?
Oh, I mean, there's no magic wand. It's just simple
Because
as
you guys got your socials. Do you guys have an actual website where people can like buy sauces and the whole nine?
Yep. It's pretty simple. It's saucebros.com. There's no other simple way to spell it. So you can go online, you can check out kind of the details about the sauce. You can buy the sauce. There's also some merch on there as well if you want to buy a shirt or a hat. Those are kind of things that we put on there for fun if you really want them. I actually send sauce hats or shirts to people when they've kind of ordered a certain amount of sauce. And if you order a 6-pack, you get the Sauce Boss box, which is really cool, which kind of comes with that free gift. So we got a lot of fun stuff in the pipeline. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, I like the website here. This is pretty dope.
Yeah. Take
Oh,
artistic.
dude, I bet that
whole-
would be good on a Euro. I never even thought to put that on there. Yeah, I like that you guys got the different shots of all different foods and stuff on there because that just gave me a great idea. The Euro, and there it is. You weren't lying. The hand squeezed lemon.
Yep,
It's all legit.
that's right, man.
Truly is, from an artistic level, quite impressive. Down from every ingredient, even to the video, the
Thank you.
cinematography, if you will. I mean,
Thank
like
you.
I said, like there's more than just tasting it, because I mean, you have to also gain the interest of those who want to try it.
Of
People that
course.
are skeptical
Of
or
course.
whatnot, they eat with their eyes first.
Mhm.
We always eat with our eyes first. So seeing this automatically makes me want to buy some.
Nice. Yeah. Well,
Very
I mean,
good.
if you give it a try, it's definitely unlike any sauce you've had before. So it's definitely something that's really, really fun to try. Right now we're going through and we're upgrading both the caps and kind of those 2 new flavors. So it's going to be really exciting when those come out.
Yeah, add that to cart there. Look at that.
Yeah, you see the other packages there are out of stock because we're limited now.
That's what I was going to ask. Because
Yep.
when I talked to you a little while back, you guys basically were almost wiped out, which is good news.
Yep.
So I know you said you were working on the next batch. Was
Yep.
that pretty much ready to go?
Yep, our next batch is actually shipping in next week, which is
Okay.
awesome. So it has a couple new upgrades. Number one is the cap. So in the picture there, it's got just kind of a basic cap. We've upgraded the cap so it kind of controls the flow a little bit more in terms of how you administer the sauce, which we thought is a great kind of lifestyle upgrade.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, of course, we will have the original and of course our milder sauce for those who don't really like that level of too much spice, or they're just not used to spicy stuff. They want something a little softer.
Well, let's get that back to where it should be.
Yeah, because that was one thing.
There you go.
That's maybe my only, I guess, gripe was maybe the cap, just because there was no like control valve or what you want to call it. It just kind of all spill it out. So
Yep. Yep.
which you could still control for the most part, but yeah, that'll be nice to be able to kind of let it come out a little bit slower than you just having the whole bottle open there.
Yeah.
So
And then actually, speaking of
I got to
the
re
cap,
up. So
yeah, for sure. I needed to as well. Once it gets in stock, I feel a little zesty. You know what I'm saying? Get it in there, and yeah, we'll have to figure that out for sure. You gotta let me know when that comes back in stock. Is there like a notification feed or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Dylan,
of course.
yeah, well, and then we'll ask too, because when we had our guy Gatorbait on, he put up a little discount code for our listeners. Our listeners and viewers. I don't know if we can do a TSP, maybe a little 10% or something. We can talk about it off air too. But it looks like your brother, he wants to come on and talk about the caps because I guess you got a patent pending on there.
Yes,
So
yes.
Dylan, if you want to pull him on, and we'll let him talk about that real quick.
Now, let me
Yeah,
figure
bring it
this
in.
out real quick. We'll go here, and then we'll go there, and then we'll go here. There we go.
What's up, guys?
There it is. Flip your phone sideways if you could.
Oh, for sure.
There we
Boom.
go. Perfect.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for bringing me in. I was watching the whole talk and I was loving it. Kareem, you're killing it.
Yeah, he's crushing it, man. Absolutely.
So 2 things I wanted to add. So the first thing was the sauce commercial. So basically, super cool, unique idea. You have 5 sauces: ketchup, mustard, hot sauce, ranch, and sauce. And it's a battle royale. Okay. And it's sort of like one of those chef shows where they're like, okay, first round. So the first round is a burger. All of those sauces go on a burger. Everybody's safe. The second round is pizza. Now, arguably, ketchup doesn't go on pizza. Some say it does. That's fine. But everybody can agree mustard does not go on pizza. So mustard is eliminated from the 5. So now you got 4
Sure.
sauces left. The next round is hot wings. Now ketchup is eliminated. You can put hot sauce, you can put ranch, and you can put sauce on a hot wing. You can't put ketchup or mustard. The third round is a fresh vegetable of your choice. Now, think about like a celery stick. You can't put celery stick and hot sauce together. They just wouldn't taste good. Like maybe you can have one, but you can't have like 5 or 10 or whatever. So the final round, ranch and sauce. Heads up. Who is the champion? And the final round is a single Doritos chip. And you can you will not eat a bag of Doritos, nacho cheese Doritos with ranch dressing. You would die. But you can absolutely eat a bag of Doritos. I have attested to it. I've showed my brothers how to that it tastes amazing. And now you have Sauce as the champion that can go on all those foods.
I like it. I like it, man. That makes sense too. You're right.
Yeah.
And then the caps idea, kind of going on what you were saying, like when I was pouring out sauce on different foods, that it would spill down the side. It just wouldn't look nice. You'd have to keep cleaning it up, use your finger.
Yep.
It just wasn't a good user experience. So I scoured the web, and honestly, I couldn't find caps, and I felt like there was a huge gap in the sauce market for caps. Like literally there's no caps for sauces. It's kind of like you either have, you know, a squeeze bottle or you have a pouring thing. There was no like customization. So we actually have 7 new caps coming out. It's probably going to be in a couple of months, and we have patents on all of them that are going to change the way people interact with their condiments. It's no longer going to be, this is the only choice you have, take it or leave it. We are going to essentially create a new marketplace for customization for how you interact with your sauce in a way that changes the touch, the feel, the texture, the amount, and how it looks. Things that you have billion-dollar corporations that have crazy amounts of money, but they don't have the foresight to think outside the box. We've actually thought outside the bottle and are bringing ideas to the table that are going to dominate the market and really kind of disrupt it altogether. And we're super excited about those caps. That's a project that me and Hasham, the other brother, are working on, and we're really excited to bring that out once it's ready to go. But keep your eyes peeled; it's going to be a game changer.
Love the
I'm looking
passion.
forward to it because, like I said, I'm waiting for this new batch to come in because I need some sauce. I'm about out. So,
Yeah.
is the new batch going to have the new caps, or is this down the line?
So the new batch is going to have a new cap.
Okay.
It's not going to have all the attachments that we want, but it is going to be a huge upgrade from obviously the no cap that we had. But it's just, you know, like a 5%, like it's a 50% upgrade, maybe even more, based on the no cap. But these custom caps that I have designed are gonna just completely, it's gonna make it fun. And like the idea of a commercial I have in my mind is like, you know, 5 friends, high school friends, they go to like a little reunion of dinner, and they all bring a bottle of sauce out of their bag to eat with food, and everybody at that table has a different cap.
Okay.
And one's like, I love this one, I love this one, I love that one, I love this one. And it just kind of, it's a cool way that people are able to customize how they enjoy sauce and what they use it for.
Yeah, if it's anything like the homepage of the website, I think the commercial is going to be knocked out of the park tenfold, 100%, especially with the imagery of just in the mind and putting it into a cinematography platform. I think that's going to be great. I mean, when you mentioned down to the first commercial, though, with the sauces, the Battle Royales, and a good collaboration that first came to my mind was the final ranch versus your sauce or the sauce. I don't know if you guys know it, the Cowphobia. He puts sauce on absolutely everything. Could be like a UFC tail of the tape.
Yeah, it would be a
Alfredo
UFC
versus the-
fight.
versus
Exactly.
the sauce, and just like he goes in from a ranch bottle costume to the sauce bottle costume or something like that. That'd be hilarious.
I would love that. That's awesome. I've never seen that, but I'll look into it. That sounds cool.
Yeah, he's the ranch. He's big ranch guy, humongous. Like he'll put
Everything.
that shit on everything.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, to have him maybe, and he's got like 8 million followers on TikTok. So that wouldn't be a bad guy to interact with maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would put our sauce against a ranch any day. You know, the difficulty with ranch is that ranch is a masker. It masks the flavor. When you put ranch on something, you're tasting ranch and that food. One of the things that makes sauce unique in the market is that we actually use really high quality and fresh ingredients, and one of those ingredients is lemon. And I'm a food scientist too, and a lot of people don't know this, but if your food is too salty, you add lemon. If your food is too sour, you add salt. That's sort of how you correct the flavor profile when you're cooking. Now, lemon can come in two forms. You know, you can have the lemon, you can have the juice from a lemon, that's going to be a citric acid, or a lemon from concentrate, that's just going to be an acid, right? So what happens is when you add sauce to any food, because it uses citric acid from an actual lemon, it's actually going to counter the salt that most of our food is filled with. And by eliminating that salt, you're actually going to bring more of the flavors out of what you're eating, which is what a lot of people don't know, but is actually happening when they put sauce on their food. So if you go to like a really whatever, just like a bland restaurant with just fried foods, and you add sauce to that dish, it's going to counter all the salt, and you're actually going to taste more of the meat, which is going to make it a more enjoyable experience for you.
This is incredible information. Going into the podcast, going to this episode, not knowing a face or a name, coming out with a culinary arts degree. This is great stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Great stuff.
You could see the raw passion that I was describing to you guys, and at the same time, you know, a confirmation that we are not your typical sauce company by any means at all.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And I mean, there's a science to it, and that's great. Yeah, you want to, you can counteract. 'Cause, yeah, there is some foods that the sodium level is through the roof. So if you can counteract that and then pull more of the natural flavors out of what you're eating, and on top
Yeah,
of
it's really
adding
it's an
flavors
unfair
to it too,
advantage. I don't
it's
know
great.
any other sauce on the market that uses real lemons. And I know for a fact because when we were looking for a co-packer, we went through 100 different co-packers, and essentially 98 of them told us that they would not make our recipe unless we use lemon concentrate. And it got to the point where my brothers were like, "Listen, Lance, like this is not going to happen. It's going to be so expensive. It's going to be time consuming, and no one's going to take us on as a client." And I was really adamant that we had to have this in the sauce, or else we were just going to be like everybody else. I wanted to be different. And we found this small, mom and pop shop, and the lady was like, "Listen, if you want it, I'll do it. It's going to cost more." But she was like, "I'll do it for you." And it's been a game changer. And honestly, I don't think it can be replaced with anything. And there's just nothing out there. You know, back in the day, ketchup was real tomatoes. Now it's just high fructose corn syrup and vinegar. We wanted sauce to be real ingredients, and that's sort of what makes us different. Trust me, it makes it more expensive for us. We're not making as much money as we could if we, chose concentrate. But I just told these guys, I was like, "Listen, I'm not going to be involved if this is not something that I believe in 100%." And it was one of those things where they didn't see it when I was saying it, but now that we've tasted the difference, and there's a big difference, it's just we can never go back because it's part of our identity now.
Well, let me ask
Line
you
was
this
drawn
then.
in the sauce.
Let's say you guys blow up, and there's stores that they want you guys in stores, Myers, Walmart's, Kroger's, all these different places around the country. Obviously, you can't use this mom and pop place anymore. You'd have to go to a bigger distributor. How would you? I mean, because obviously you probably talked to some of these bigger distributors along the
I've
way
already
that
figured it
didn't
out.
want to do it. What? Yeah, I was gonna say how you gonna
I've
keep
already
the
figured it out. So there's actually a lemon. So like, have you ever been to Miami or somewhere where there's a an orange juice machine
no.
that takes orange? Yeah, you've seen them. You've like when you go to a place and you get fresh orange juice, they have an orange juice machine, which is like a bunch of oranges, and they cut them down the middle, and the machine spins in a circle, and they squeeze the oranges, and it falls into a cup.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have one of those for lemons that I found out. And it can squeeze up to 20,000 lemons, I believe, an hour running at full steam. So I'm already ahead of it. If we get to that point, we're gonna buy this lemon machine. I think it's like $5,000, and you no longer have to hand squeeze your lemons. You just clean each. The hard part's gonna be cleaning the lemons, which is you put into a big vat and you disinfect them with whatever method they use, and then you throw those lemons into the machine. You no longer have to hand squeeze them. It's just gonna kick out lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, like back to back to back. We're a specialty sauce. This isn't like a retail sauce. We're on the expensive side, but you're not getting, people pay more for a Mercedes because the service and the quality that they're getting. So with sauce, we don't want people to look at us like we're a $5 sauce selling for $10. We want people to look at us like we're a $20 sauce selling for $15.
I
Dylan,
love that.
he's living in 2050. We're over here in
Yeah, we're-
2025.
What
We're
years?
way behind. So yeah,
What years?
we don't know. Yeah, he's got a
This
fucking
is great.
flying car and all that shit already. So he's all set. We got to catch up. But
Yeah, we're working
um,
on a sauce car right now that just powers with sauce.
there you go. See, that's even smarter,
That's
man.
the true all-in-one sauce.
It's got it's wrapped too. It's got sauce
Yeah.
balls over it too. Before we finish up here with Kareem, I mean, you got any last words for us? Appreciate you coming on, plugging the commercial, and definitely talking about the patent. But we'll
Thanks
let you
a
get
lot,
some
guys.
last words in, man.
Thanks for letting me jump in here.
Of course,
Yeah.
appreciate it, dude.
Thanks, Lance. Yeah, so I mean, again, it's great to.
He's got, first off, he's got to be the creative leader of the team.
I mean, we have plenty of creatives. I am the most grounded, I would say, of the three. The two of them
It's
are
good
more
mix
on.
though. It's good to have all three. Yeah.
Yeah, artistic is the best word I have to describe both of them. And so that's where a lot of these crazy ideas come from, and it does play into how I wanted to answer, your question about, what I would say is kind of the biggest takeaway from all this is truly don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be creative. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. And if someone tells you something can't be done, don't take no for an answer. So that's kind of what we are in essence as a company. We've been called crazy and silly and all sort of different versions of that phrasing along the way, but we never let that stop us. And honestly, I kind of marvel at the fact that we officially launched this company a year ago, and the amount of progress we made is astounding. Considering we just have three kind of family members who are doing everything themselves, from building the website, designing the label, working with the co-packers, building our packaging and operations and everything. It's been a wild ride, and nothing has kind of kept us afloat but that kind of creative passion. So, that would definitely be
that was Lance.
Yes.
Okay, hey, Lance, if you're still in the green room, you need to go on an ayahuasca trip, man. Then you'll be unstoppable. I'll tell you that right now. You'll be unbeatable. He's great. I love his energy. I love his creativity, and it's great. You guys are set up because I like that you got three different styles of personalities and stuff. That's really the best way to go about it, because you guys can kind of tackle all the different avenues while kind of coming together, to push this brand. I like it a lot, and yeah, it seems like I've only kind of been following along for a couple months, but even in the couple of months, you can kind of see what's going on, and just talking to you, kind of seeing what's bubbling up. It's pretty exciting. So I'm definitely looking forward to kind of seeing where you guys go from here. But before we ask the last question, plug the socials, like I said, because you guys got a couple of different ones on Instagram. Yeah, plug the socials, the website. Make sure we can get some ears and eyes on Sauce.
Yeah, absolutely. The TikTok is sauce_bros, sauce bros. The website is saucebros.com. not to be confused with the way that sauce is spelled. Although we also have that domain, saucebros.com. So here's the box, saucebros.com.
So would that, if somebody
logo.
did type in the real sauce, like the real spelling, would that shoot them to Sauce Bros?
Yes, it would.
That's
Yeah,
smart.
So
That's a smart.
yeah,
move.
so yeah, we had a couple of people doing that in the beginning, and we're like, okay, we should also have that domain as well, just in case.
Yeah, so you guys are just ahead of the game, man, in all avenues, all aspects. Smart.
I mean, that's what happens when you kind of you think kind of outside the box, and you're like, hey, what is we want to do this kind of the right way, but also have fun with it, and we've had tons of fun along the way, and it's been great just to bring kind of people into the fold of the world of sauce, meet new people, get their feedback, and even just kind of meeting you guys, Bobby and Dylan, like. Just the fact that I'm on this podcast is such a cool experience to begin with. So thank you for taking the time, bringing me on.
Yeah, it's been fun to. I mean, I obviously initially I thought to put a face to the name, but there's faces to the name, so it's been great to kind of
whole operation.
kind of see how it's all working out here. So it's been fun, man. Like I said, I've enjoyed the sauce. You said next week, right? We can start ordering.
Yep,
okay, perfect. So. We'll make
next
sure
week
we'll have to get you a bottle.
Amazing. Yeah, next week we're going to be fully stocked because we have our big event in Richmond, which is the Dominion River Rock Festival, which is going to be super exciting. So we'll have a lot of stuff on our socials just covering that event in general. Fun fact is the two founders are going to be running the actual kiosk at the event. I will be busy sports commentating the kayak polo game. So
okay.
That's kind of a new thing I've stepped into. Yeah. So last year I did the sports commentating for the match, and people loved it, and they were like, "Hey, can we get you back next year?" And in the meantime, we were launching Sauce, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? This is a perfect merging of the two." I was like, I could be the commentator again for next year, but we could also have Sauce there at the festival at the same time. So it's going to be a big event for us, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. So when you say next week, is it like Monday? You guys are good, or is there a specific day of the week next week that we can kind of?
So I would say Monday of next week, not this Monday, but the following Monday.
Okay. So was that like the 18th? I think.
Yes, that's correct. The 18th.
Okay.
Gotcha. So yeah, we'll be firing on all cylinders there, and we hand package every single order. So. I even kind of I stamp them, or I sign them, or I put in little cards, and sometimes I give away free things just at random times. Just because, again, we're not in the business to make money. Occasionally when people order, when people multi-order double bottles or come in and return customers, I'll just kind of throw in a gift every now and then, just to kind of show their support, because we've had some, I'll be honest, some mega fans, and then some people were like, "Hey, cool sauce," or whatever, I liked it, but there's some people who are like, "Hey, like, you got to give me more of this stuff," like, because we went dark for a little bit because we ran out of stock a lot faster than I had anticipated, and a couple people just keep blowing me up. They're like, "Hey, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? When are you coming back?" So those people, I really try to show my appreciation and send them something, a little bonus, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great sign. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could be in the opposite and be like, "Yeah, we got 300 bottles just sitting around, waiting to get bought up." So that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm waiting, man. So yeah, as soon as you guys you shoot me a message or shoot us a message, so we kind of when we know, and then we'll obviously relay that to our audience, man. Make sure people can start trying the stuff. Good stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think, Dylan. Like I said, it was pretty. I tried it with wings. I liked it with wings. I think I might have did pizza as well, but breakfast sandwiches for sure has been my favorite thing with that so far. And after seeing the website, like I said, the website kind of opened my eyes too. I got to definitely get a gyro and get some sauce on there too. So
when I try it, I'm gonna have to spin a wheel and put it to the test. Whatever it lands on, that's when I'm gonna try it. So
it's funny. The way that I actually met Bobby was kind of one of these put it to the test moments on Remy's channel. Remy had Toxic on the show. We also had another guest who has a pretty big following as well. And
Izzy drinks, right?
Izzy. And I had made a comment, and Izzy was like, "Oh my God, this guy, I don't know who he is." And he was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna try your sauce, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna say it sucks." And I was like, "All right, man, go ahead, try it." And as soon as he tried it, he was like, "Man, I don't really like." he was like, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. He's like, I actually really like this is actually a good sauce. And I think in that moment,
I remember that. Yep.
Bobby actually picked up a bottle because he was like this was pretty authentic. I just challenged him. I was like, dude, just do it live. Like I really, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like I'm not worried about one person saying they don't like the sauce. It's totally cool. Go ahead and try it. If you like it, awesome. So it's pretty cool story.
Yeah, that's a low risk, high reward gamble right there. If like it's a simple marketing on someone else's live there, then gain whoever was there, like Bobby, for instance, and I'm sure others who were able to buy a bottle there, right there and then.
Yep.
Yeah, and one thing is, we're a small outfit too. We're not Joe Rogan by any means as far as an audience. Like we're kind of a mom and pop podcast. So we definitely like to put on for local businesses, and especially now knowing this is a full-fledged family business is even better. Makes me feel good to support you guys. And like I said, the product is good, and I wouldn't bullshit it. I enjoy it, and obviously, like I said, the bottle's almost gone, so I've been using it pretty regularly, and looking forward to you guys getting this latest batch in. I imagine this next batch is probably gonna be a little bit more of a quantity than the last one, so hopefully you guys will kind of just keep incrementally, going up with the quantity there, and like I said, eventually we'll see you in stores and all that stuff, and then when you guys are big time, we'll remember, hey, we were able to get these guys on the show, Dylan, back before they became megastars. Because who knows, Lance probably already has created new foods and all kinds of stuff. He's so far ahead of the game, man. So he's awesome. But Karim, before we get out of here, I'm gonna ask you a question that we ask all our guests at the end of each interview, and that is, knowing what you know today, what is one thing you would tell your 18-year-old self?
I would say just follow your passion. Do what you love. And I know that sounds extremely cliche, and you've heard it a ton of times, but until you actually start doing what you love instead of something that just kind of pays the bills, I think you truly kind of understand what that phrasing means. As cliche as it is, it really does provide a level of fulfillment, I think, that a simple kind of paycheck can't fill. So that's definitely what I would tell my younger self. Yeah.
Cliche or not, believe it or not, we get a lot of people say buy Bitcoin, which is smart. Obviously, I think everyone back when you're 18, if you could get a hold of Bitcoin when it was super cheap or bottom of the floor cheap, I think we'd all would do that. But no, I love your answer too, man. It's great. Karim, it's been awesome to get to know you. We really appreciate you giving us some of your time on a Saturday night to talk shop and give us the rundown on Sauce Bros. And like I said, you got our full support, and this drops on Monday, so we'll drop some clips, and we'll tag you guys on socials, on Instagram. Are you guys on Twitter too, or no?
Yes, we do have a Twitter. It's kind of in its infancy, though. I'll be honest. Secret Sauce and Sauce Bros, our Instagram, are probably our larger platforms, followed by TikTok. So, yep.
Okay. So we'll be sure to do IG, and then TikTok, and we'll still probably tag you, on Twitter or whatever. So
I appreciate it. And I was going to say the same for you guys' podcast. Honestly, I know you mentioned you're like, hey, we're not Joe Rogan, but you're honestly in the same place that we are, where you're in a creative space, you're doing what you love. I love how you guys organize your podcast. It feels awesome, and hopefully in the future you guys continue to grow and really just enjoy what you guys are doing, and really the rest of the world acknowledges it, because the level of success, I think, is not based off of where you are in terms of the recognition. It's just that the recognition catches up to the art and what you're doing. And I hope that you guys get to experience that.
Yeah, it's great. This is our 205th episode, so this has been a phenomenal hobby. We love it. We've been doing it about 6 years. Obviously, we're both two blue collar guys that work 50 plus hours a week. So if we worked a little bit less and had more time to kind of, fool around on socials and stuff, I think, we'd be in a little bit better place. But it's all right, man. We get to, talk to interesting people like yourself, while, me and him live 2 hours away from each other. So we get to catch up, on our weeks every week, and then also talk to some guests. So I look forward to doing it every week. It's a lot of fun. But Karim, like I said, again, this was awesome getting to meet like I said, the faces behind the name, and kind of learn what's going on with Sauce Bros. But for now, Dylan, you know what time it is, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's wrap on 205. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to go grab yourself a bottle when they do come in stock. That's at saucebros.com, SOSSBROS. There it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. Go grab yourself the all-in-one, the one that rules them all, Sauce. Right there, ladies. Like I said, I was not kidding. It came across funny, but I was not kidding. Coming into this episode, not knowing a name or a face, coming out with a culinary arts degree, knowing little things such as flipping your sandwich upside down turns it into a completely new sandwich. The just different layers, the science behind it all, the passion, cannot express that enough. I definitely respect the passion behind the sauce in itself and the culinary art behind it all. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time, being patient in the beginning. It was a great interview, and hope we can do it again down the line for sure.
Same.
Oh, yeah, Dylan, actually, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, before we do, definitely want to make sure we plug, Lindsay Fincher's Venmo, the benefit for her,
Yeah,
May 17th
absolutely.
in Walbridge. Like I said, if you aren't somebody that lives in the Northwest Ohio area, Venmo, you can reach out to us. We'll get you to her Venmo, or you can send something to us, however you want to do it. And if you can't support monetarily, that's not a worry either. Just send some support, supportive words of encouragement, all that stuff, positivity. They need it all over there. So definitely make sure you guys go support Dustin and Lindsay Fincher and their family. I just want to make sure we plug that one more time, but go ahead, Dylan.
I absolutely couldn't have said it better myself. And I'll wrap it up there. On that note, go support us as well as following all the content TSP. Be at TSP_2019 on all of our social platforms. You see right there at the top with Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram as well. And you can get this podcast. We're on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, usually the most popular there. But from myself, Bobby, Karim, and all the Sauce Bros out there, have a wonderful week, friends, and we'll catch you for 206.